Welcome to the Art of Classiness podcast, a show where we redefine what it means to be a classy lady. And sometimes it's messy. I'm Robin.
And I'm Deborah, two friends turned classy ladies who are here to discuss life's ups and downs, navigating the complexities of adulthood and how the gift of friendship is essential to belonging.
Today, we're celebrating International Women's Day, a day dedicated to honoring the achievements, resilience, and sheer badassery of women throughout history and today.
That's right. And while we love talking about modern-day friendships and support systems, today we're taking it back, way back, to some of the fiercest women in history. Women who didn't just exist in the background, but led revolutions, fought oppression, and changed the course of history.
Because let's be real, women have always been at the forefront of change, even when history tries to erase them. Today, we're spotlighting some of those stories.
So follow along, give us your feedback, and don't forget to like and subscribe. What's up, classy ladies and gentlemen? Let's check in with each other. Robin, how are you today?
Hi, I'm okay. I woke up with really bad allergies.
Ugh.
But I have discovered a life-changing device.
Oh my God, tell me more.
And it's called Intake. It's this little thing that you clip on top of your nose. It's magnets.
Yes.
So the magnet strips attached to your nose, and then it's this little plastic thing that that just clicks into place. And when it attaches to the magnets, it opens up your nostrils.
Yes.
And I've been able to breathe in a way that I have not been able to in I don't even know how long, because I have a deviated septum and chronic allergies in Texas. It is life-changing. And I don't care how ridiculous I look because I feel amazing.
That is so great. And you guys need to know that Robin was going full salesperson in the group chat with this information. We got a video tutorial. We got before and after explanations. You know, she's selling it hard to our friend whose husband snores. So at this point, she's an affiliate marketer for Intake. And, sign us up for a brand deal, Intake. We'll promote it here. Let's do it.
I've talked about this a lot. I want to make a digital stamp that I can just send Robin's stamp of approval.
Oh.
Because I'm really I make recommendations for things that I stand behind and only that.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me so happy when people actually take my advice and they're like, oh my gosh, you were right.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Validation.
I get so high off of that.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. I'm going to make one eventually.
The Robin seal of approval. We love it.
Yeah. What about you? How was your week?
My week was good. I am really just trying to focus on my mindset these days of being 1% better every day. I've been kind of in a little bit of a slump just in terms of what I deem as productive enough. As a people pleaser and perfectionist, you can never hit full-blown potential. It's always going to evade you. So I'm just trying to focus on little things I can do every single day that are going to be good for me in one way or another. I've started working out again, which feels really good and necessary because I will be doing a triathlon in the summer. And I have been more mindful of going to bed early. And I also went to a networking event, and I didn't know anybody there except for one woman I had met before.
How many people were there?
It was a well-attended networking event. I would say there was over 100 people there.
All women?
No, not all women.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was for the Chamber of Commerce here.
Got it.
And I think I did really well, even though I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. As soon as you get through the name check-in and you get yourself a drink, it's like, oh, God, what do I do? But let me tell you. So I ran into a group of people and just sort of found my way in conversation with them. And a guy was holding what looked like a little terracotta pot that you would put a plant in, but it was a coffee mug. And it was an advertisement for a landscaping company. And I was like, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I'll have to show you after this. And then the woman who worked for the company, she's like, oh my God, we just got these in today. I have another one. And she gave it to me. I'm like, thank you so much. And let me tell you, that was such a good conversation starter because I'm walking around with this adorable little mug and everyone's like, what is that? That is so cute. Oh my God, how clever. And I don't work for the company, but I was happy to promote them. I was like, yeah, they do residential and commercial landscaping and blah, blah, blah. So it was actually the perfect icebreaker to like go around and like talk to people with. So sometimes you just need a prop.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just need a prop and it's a great way to just get in, introduce yourself, and then hopefully be memorable. So I'm proud of myself for putting myself out there and just every day trying to focus on just being a little teeny tiny bit better than I was the day before.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. And I'm glad that you are doing it. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so today's classy convo, I'm really excited to get into. It's a little bit different from what we've typically done before, but Robin and I realized that this week is International Women's Day. So how could we not cover this topic by highlighting female friendships in history that accomplished extraordinary things?
That's right. History remembers kings, conquerors, lone heroes. They're all typically male-focused stories, right? But today, we're talking about something even more powerful. Legendary female duos who made history together, proving that women supporting women is a force to be reckoned with. And we have two badass stories to share with you guys today.
Yes, I'm so excited to just dive a little deeper. You know, there's so many times where we find out way too late courageous, brave, badass women and the impact that they had in huge historical events. So what better time than International Women's Day? Every day should be International Women's Day, but this week it just feels like the perfect time to maybe educate you for the first time on some of these incredible women that had huge impacts on history and pushed back against that patriarchy.
That's right.
Yes. So each of us have prepared a little bit of a history lesson. And Robin, I think you should kick it off. Tell me about this incredible duo.
I want to lead with, please excuse my pronunciation. This is about Vietnamese women. I am doing my best, but please don't come at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the story about the Trung Sisters, who were Vietnamese warrior queens in the 1st century AD.
Ooh, okay. We love a 1st century warrior queen.
That's right. So, for most of history, women have been told to be quiet, wait for someone else to take action, and to accept their place. But some women refuse. Some women rise, fight, and carve their name into history, no matter how hard the world tries to forget them. The Trung Sisters, Trung Cha and Trung Nhi, were two of those women. They weren't just warriors, they were revolutionaries. And they didn't just resist oppression, they led an entire army of 80,000 warriors and overthrew a freaking empire.
Hell yeah. Hell yes, give me more.
This is their story.
Yes.
So, as I said, it's 1st century AD, where Vietnam as we know it today, it did not exist back then. It was under control of the Han Dynasty in China, ruled by an emperor who saw the Vietnamese people as nothing more than subjects to be taxed, controlled, and stripped of their land. The Chinese overlords imposed heavy tributes, forced assimilation, and really harsh laws. Vietnamese nobles lost power, and women who originally had rights in the local societies were stripped of nearly all their freedoms. So this was a world where women were expected to be silent, subservient, and obedient. The Trung Sisters had no intention of being any of those things. They were fortunate enough to be born into a noble Vietnamese family. Cha and Nhi grew up with privilege, but instead of simply benefiting from that, they used it to fight for their people. Unlike other noble daughters who were trained for arranged marriages, these sisters were trained for battle.
Yes.
Their father actually ensured that they learned martial arts, military strategy, and leadership, which is a very rare privilege for women of their time.
Yeah, he's like the first girl dad.
Yeah. So 𝐵, the eldest sister, was brilliant and calculated. She was a natural strategist. 𝐸, the younger one, was bold, fearless, and battle-hardened. Together, they weren't just sisters. They were a force of nature. So things changed when the older sister, 𝐵, married a nobleman named 𝐷𝐸. Unlike many marriages of that time, it wasn't just about power and status. This was a marriage of shared ideals.
So was it an arranged marriage and she just lucked out and...
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it was an arranged marriage. And 𝐷𝐸 despised the Chinese occupation just as much as the Chung family did, and he began secretly organizing a resistance against the Han Dynasty. When Chinese officials discovered 𝐷𝐸's plans, they didn't just stop him, they made an example out of him. He was executed publicly. His death was meant to send a message, a warning to anyone who dared to resist Chinese rule. They thought this would silence the rebellion before it could begin. They were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of retreating into mourning, Chung 𝐵 and Chung 𝐸 vowed revenge. I think I did good on that one.
I think you did good too.
And not just for 𝐷𝐸, for their people. For every village burned, every family displaced, and every woman told that she had no power. If no one else was going to stand up to the Han Dynasty, they would. The Trung sisters didn't just rebel. They built a revolution. So thanks, China.
Yeah.
So they traveled across the land, rallying villages, warriors, and every formal noble to their cause. What made their army unique wasn't just the size, it was who was in it. Many of their soldiers were actually women.
Yes.
Unlike Chinese society, where women had no role in war, Vietnam had a long tradition of women warriors, and the Trung sisters embraced that. They shared gender expectations, commanding an army of 80,000 fighters.
Holy shit.
On the backs of war elephants.
So they rode elephants into battle?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
War elephants.
War elephants alone is incredible. I'm just trying to think, do elephants go quickly? Like, would an elephant actually be the best animal to ride into battle?
I mean, they can trample horses and they run faster than humans.
Okay, that'll do. That'll do it. Not very covert, though. You're going to see that elephant coming from...
I wouldn't say 80,000 people is covert either.
Very true. Great point.
So, yeah, they went to war. They fought their booties off, and their rebellion spread like wildfire. They stormed the Chinese-held fortresses, crushed enemy forces, and reclaimed over 65 citadels. One by one, they forced the Han Dynasty's troops out of their homeland. Yay!
Yay!
So the impossible happened. They won.
Wow.
They got their land back, and for the first time in decades, the Chinese were driven out of Vietnam. The Trung sisters, once noble daughters trained in combat, became queens.
Actual queens?
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
𝐵 took the throne, ruling alongside 𝐸. They established new laws, restored Vietnamese traditions, and ruled as sovereigns of an independent kingdom. And for 3 years, Vietnam belonged to its people. 3 good years.
Mm.
But history doesn't often allow rebellion to go unpunished. The Han Dynasty refused to accept defeat, and the emperor sent a massive army led by one of China's most feared generals to take back Vietnam.
Hmm.
The Trung sisters fought. Outnumbered, overpowered, they fought. But after years of independence, the Chinese forces proved too strong. The rebellion, so powerful and inspiring, began to crumble under the sheer size of the invading force. Faced with the reality of capture, the Trung sisters refused to surrender, and instead of allowing themselves to be taken prisoner, paraded through the streets as trophies, they rode to the edge of a great river and threw themselves in.
Oh, Thelma and Louise style.
They chose death over defeat, but their legacy didn't die with them. The Chinese may have reclaimed Vietnam, but the Trung sisters were never forgotten. They became symbols of resistance, warrior goddesses honored for generations. Even today, they are worshipped as national heroes in Vietnam. Statues stand in their honor, Festivals celebrate their victories, and their story is told to every generation of Vietnamese children. They prove that women could lead armies, that two sisters could stand against an empire, and that freedom was worth fighting for. And yet, the world barely knows their names.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Part of me is like, do I just not know this story because A, I wasn't a good student, and B, because I'm so like entrenched in my whiteness and just like don't know about other cultures enough? Or is this truly like a buried story?
Well, think about it. Like, we all know Joan of Arc,
Yeah.
Cleopatra, the big names. But why not these sisters? They didn't just fight, they won.
Yeah.
They didn't just exist in history. Like, they changed the course of history.
Yeah.
And I think there are so many more examples of this throughout history, which is why International Women's Day is such an important day.
I think you make a good point. History is written by the quote unquote winners. But like the badassery of leading a 80,000 army on elephants, taking over, becoming sister queens, which is amazing, and then choosing to sacrifice yourself over defeat. And some people might say, oh, that's so ego-driven, but in the reality, the detriment that would have caused their followers, their fellow citizens, to watch them, as you said, at minimal, be paraded down the street. Who even knows the kind of public humiliation, torture, and execution they would likely face in front of their people to say, give me liberty or give me death, essentially.
Yes.
And then throw themselves off a cliff together. That is crazy. Crazy.
It's inspirational.
Yeah.
So, in honor of International Women's Day, let's raise a metaphorical glass, or in my case, a real one.
Yes, same.
To the Trung Sisters, two women who refused to wait for someone else to save them, two sisters who rode into battle on war elephants, two queens who would rather die free than live in chains. When history tried to forget them, their people remembered, and now so will we.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Great story. Outstanding.
Thanks.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Right, let's hear your story. I don't even know what you're doing. It's a total surprise for me.
I know. So it's similar in theme. We're going to talk about war heroes as well. Let me set the scene for you. So picture this. It's 1943, Nazi-occupied France. You're deep behind enemy lines, dodging German patrols, carrying secret messages, planting explosives, organizing resistance against these fighters. You didn't just end up there. You parachuted in, knowing there's no easy way out. Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds like the total opposite of a good time, if I do say so myself.
100%. But for Pearl Witherington and Lise de Baissac, I am, again, trying to do my best to pronounce that correctly, Lise de Baissac, this was just another day at work. These were two agents in the Special Operations Executive, or the SOE, which, by the way, was literally called the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Their job was to sabotage, espionage, and make life miserable for the Nazis.
Oh my gosh, I love them. Tell me everything.
Okay, so let's go into each of their individual backgrounds and how they contributed to the World War II efforts. So during World War II, Pearl Witherington and Lise de Baissac were among the most fearless women in the Special Operations Executive, which was a British wartime organization that carried out espionage and sabotage behind enemy lines. They operated separately, but their missions and courage were deeply intertwined in the SOE's dangerous work in Nazi-occupied France. So while this story is not necessarily one of sisters or best friends together in the end, these were two women who were serving in an elite group in the army and ended up going on separate missions, but each of them accomplished incredible things.
They were comrades.
They were comrades, exactly.
Sisters in arms.
They were sisters in arms. So let's first talk about Pearl Witherington. So Pearl was born in France, but she had British parents, and they lived in Paris right before the war. When the Germans invaded, she escaped back to Britain, which a lot of people did that were living in France. However, she was determined to contribute to the war effort. So because she was fluent in French, she had a deep knowledge of the country, and also she was probably just a badass in her everyday persona. She was a prime candidate for the SOE. So in 1943, once she was in the SOE, trained up and ready to go, she parachuted into France to work with the wrestler resistance circuit. Initially, she was tasked with courier duties, which was a pretty common job that women had if they were in the armed forces. Essentially, you were delivering messages, sometimes smuggling documents. And this was a great role for women to have because they were very unassuming, right?
Yes.
So she started as a courier, and then she soon found herself leading over 1,500 resistance fighters after her commanding officer was captured. So it's like he gone, and she's got to step in. All of a sudden, she's leading the wrestler resistance circuit. So under her leadership, the unit disrupted German operations, derailed trains, cut enemy supply lines, and things of the nature. Just general mischief. She became such a menace that the Nazis placed a 1 million franc bounty on her head.
Wow.
How much do you think 1 million franc would be worth today?
Oh, I love this game. 1 million francs from 1943 would translate to, I'm going to say, $7.5 million US.
No. It is actually 18.2. Think about that. That's how high the bounty was on her head.
Wow.
This is how much of a menace she was. Know your worth, girl. Know your worth. You worth 18 million.
Get it.
Get it. So despite relentless Gestapo efforts to capture her, she managed to evade them and contributed her work until the liberation of France. After the war, she was offered an MBE, which is a member of the Order of the British Empire, but she declined it because it's a civilian award. And she was a member of the services. So she later accepted a military honor, which recognized her true role in combat. She wasn't just a civilian helping out. She was in the military. So she's like, you can give this back to me when it's an actual military award. And they finally did, which is great.
Love it.
So that is Pearl. Let's talk about Lise de Baissac, which I think I'm saying correctly. French people out there, I'm so sorry. But actually, she wasn't French. She was born in Mauritius, which is actually an island off the coast of East Africa, but had strong French ties. So when France fell to the Nazis, she and her brother Claude de Baissac, fled to England, where they were both recruited into the SOE. She was one of the first female agents to parachute into France, despite SOE's initial reluctance to send women on such a dangerous mission. She was like, I'm good. Send me down. So Lise worked as an undercover courier, very similar to Pearl, and an intelligence operative. She moved between different resistance networks, setting up safe houses and relaying crucial messages between agents. She was known for her sharp mind, unshakable composure, and ability to blend in anywhere. Again, women being so unassuming. This is like a perfect role for them, you know? So at one point, her cover was nearly blown when German counterintelligence grew suspicious of her activities. The Gestapo had become increasingly aggressive in identifying resistance members, and Lise's frequent movements raised red flags. Realizing she was in immediate danger, she made a daring escape, cycling over 1,000 kilometers, which is about 620 miles, across France to evade capture.
The original Tour de France.
The original Tour de France and a tour de force, if I say so myself.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So this grueling journey ultimately led her back to Britain, where she was debriefed and then reassigned. Undeterred by the risk, Lise later returned to France under a new alias, assuming her resistance worked.
So brave.
So she could have gotten out. She could have been like, I did my time, but instead she got reassigned and went back to fight the Nazis. Like, that is so amazing. So she played a significant role in coordinating operations that would aid Allied invasion of Normandy, ensuring that sabotage efforts were well executed in preparation for D-Day.
Amazing.
Even though Pearl and Lise operated in different circuits, their missions embodied the courage, resourcefulness, and sacrifice of SOE women. Their work not only disrupted German operations, but also inspired a new recognition of women's capabilities in warfare. I love that. Both women lived long lives after the war, but their contributions remained, guess what? Largely in the shadows compared to their male counterparts.
Fucking bullshit.
Today, they stand as symbols of resilience and bravery, a reminder of the women who risked everything to fight against tyranny. And that is the story of Pearl Witherington and Lise de Baissac.
Amazing.
Yeah, and what I love about this story is they use their own God-given wit and talent. They didn't have to assume masculine traits. You know, they didn't have to bulk up. They didn't have to do these things that are typically associated with like male stamina. This is why equity is so important in the military. I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is why we need women in combat, because there are so many other roles. You could never have a male courier undercover during World War II. It would be like, what is this guy doing? They would stand out so much. So leveraging that part of femininity, of that unassuming nature, that natural kindness that women can exude, is what made them so successful in their efforts to sabotage, to cut supply lines, to manipulate. Okay, we actually were texting about this the other day, Robin. Like, you don't see many female serial killers. It's not really a thing. Obviously, there are some, but it's very rare. Women kill in other ways through our natural strengths of manipulation.
Come into my spider web.
Just the charisma, which, you know, obviously you want to use those efforts for good, but like they're still as potent as these attributes that we give men as being strong and brave. Like, women have those too. It just, their behavior is in different ways. And this is why it's so important to have both in our military. I said it. I stand by it.
Completely agree. Everybody has a place. Everybody has a role. It doesn't have to be defined by gender.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. And these efforts that women like them did, there's so many other Pearls and, you know, Lises out there.
Yeah.
That we don't even know their stories because some of their efforts were so covert. So I love that we were able to highlight these two women and your sisters earlier today, because I'm sure that there are just so many other stories like that that we've never heard of.
Yes. And what I love about these stories and some of the other ones that we are considering doing for this episode, like, these women did not wait for permission. They took action. They fought back against systems designed to silence them. And there are so many untold voices in history, and it's crazy that we are still finding out about the impacts that women have made in male spaces, yet none of it is always truthfully reflected.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great time to share some other fun facts about women throughout history.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's do it.
Did you know, Deborah, the first computer programmer was a woman? Ada Lovelace, who basically imagined modern computing back in the 1800s,
Whoa.
was the first computer programmer.
Love that.
A woman. That's right.
Well, Robin, did you know that the first woman to run for U.S. president was Victoria Woodhull in 1872, and she ran before women could even vote?
I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Wow. Before women could even vote. Bizarre.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to keep doing that.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, did you know A group of Soviet women pilots in World War II were nicknamed the Night Witches because they flew silent, terrifying night raids against the Nazis.
I did actually know of that story, and it is an incredible one. So if you guys have some time, there are some great articles written about the Night Witches. In fact, My Favorite Murder did a fantastic episode on this group of women who terrorized the Nazis. You should definitely check it out.
They turned off their plane engines so that they weren't detected to drop these bombs. Like that, I'm already scared of flying, okay?
Yeah.
You just turn the plane off when you're in the air?
Yes.
Get out.
That is insane. So dangerous, and they wreaked so much havoc. I love it. I got another one for you. Did you know that the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes was a woman, Marie Curie? And she did it in 2 different scientific fields. She got one for physics, and she got another one for chemistry.
What an inspiration.
I know. It's like, give her a break. Give her unpaid. I just said give her unpaid leave, which is, I don't want her to have unpaid leave.
Oh, get her out of here.
Get her out of here.
She wasn't not just the first woman, the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes. That's amazing.
Yeah. Insane.
All right. Well, did you know this? Ida B. Wells, who was a Black journalist and activist in the late 1800s, exposed the horrors of lynching in the U.S., fought for civil rights, and co-founded the NAACP.
Incredible. Incredible. How about this? Did you know that Dr. Mary Edwards Walker was the first and only woman to receive the U.S. Medal of Honor? And here's my favorite part. She wore pants in the 1800s. This is a huge deal. Women didn't wear pants in the 1800s. It was a big deal when Audrey Hepburn wore pants. Everyone was like, whoa, lady, where's your skirt? And she was like, I won't wear a skirt. I wear pants.
Wait, are you talking about Katharine Hepburn?
I sure am.
That voice. The voice. I was like, that's not Audrey Hepburn.
It was Katharine Hepburn. I totally forgot. Keep it. Don't cut it. Keep it in.
Okay. All right, I got one more for you. Did you know Qing Shi, a former sex worker, became one of the most powerful pirates in history, leading a fleet of 1,800 ships and forcing the Chinese government to pay her to retire peacefully?
Yes.
They're like, please stop. Just go enjoy the rest of your life. Leave us alone.
You know, sex worker and pirates feels like a pretty good Venn diagram of just people who are like, I'm going to do shit for money, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
I can see it. Okay, did you know Bessie Coleman was the first Black and Native American woman to earn a pilot's license? And because the U.S. refused to train women of color, she had to learn to fly in France.
What?
The first one to receive a pilot's license. When do you think this happened?
Ugh. I'm trying to remember when Amelia Earhart was popular.
Yeah.
And I cannot. So I'm just going to guess. 1922.
Oh, you're so close. 1921.
Ah!
Wow. Good job.
Go me.
So yeah, those are just some awesome facts that you may or may not have heard of before. Pioneer women, badass, beasts, and let's not forget them. And this week and every week we celebrate them.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to all our lady heroes who, regardless of suppression that they faced, they still fought for what they believed in. And I just really admire that.
I admire it, and we got to keep fighting. We can't be complacent. We got to keep fighting. So love that. Love to celebrate these women. Hey, speaking of class acts, let's transition to our class act of the week, where we talk about the classiest thing that we've seen. Robin, you're up. What was the classiest thing that you saw last week?
So this is a bit of a longer story. It's not something that just happened this week, but I want to give some context. This is a love story that was 45 years in the making.
Oh.
Okay. So my class act is dedicated to my mom's boyfriend, Mike. He is this guy who, after decades apart, has given my mom the love in life that she has always deserved. I'm like, ugh, getting emotional. So they actually knew each other in high school.
Oh.
My mom had a huge crush on him, but never, they were both shy. So life took them in different directions. They both got married, had their own kids. Fast forward 45 years later, and they're both divorced, living their own lives, when fate, if you will, and a live band that Mike was in brought them back together. So Mike's band was playing at a bar one night, and my mom's friend had been dragging her out because she was wanting to get out and meet some fellas. And just like that, my mom had the freaking gall to just let him know, hey, I'm not just here to see the band. So that he asked her out on a date.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been over 2 years now. And I could say without a doubt, Mike is the best thing that has ever happened to my mom. She's a different person. I've never seen her this happy and fulfilled. She's been through so much in her life, bad relationships, heartbreak, loss of children, so many disappointments. And she's always been the kind of person who gives and gives, but never quite receives the love that she truly deserved, But Mike, he's changed everything. I used to feel so worried about my mom because she did seem lonely, and I don't ever think about that anymore because he's changed everything. He treats her like a queen. He takes her on trips. He spoils her with gifts. But more than anything, he shows up for her. And the biggest gesture of all, which is my class act of the week, he bought her a house. But he didn't just buy her a house. This is going to be the biggest and nicest home my mom has ever lived in. And he let her have full reign over all of the design choices because they renovated the whole house.
Wow.
Every detail decision was all hers because mostly he didn't care, but also he just wanted her to build the home that she wanted. And I'm just so grateful for Mike. He didn't just come into her life, he changed it. And they're moving into it next week finally. The renovations are done. And it just goes to show that you can find love at any age. And I couldn't be happier for them. Seth and I love Mike so much. They've been together for 2 years, but he's such a wonderful human being that he already kind of feels like my dad. Which is wild to say, but that's his persona. He is a dad, for one, but he's also just a wonderful person. I'm just over the moon that my mom has been able to find that in her lifetime. Because, everybody deserves to find love. And I think for a while, she probably didn't think she was going to.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love that. And I'm so happy for her. I've met your mom before. I've met her several times, but if you remember your birthday that you had where we got the limo bus to the wineries.
Yes. I
remember she was on that trek and we had a great time, and that's so great. And selfishly, I'm like, oh, that gives me hope. Because sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm 41.
I actually thought about you when I
know. It's okay. It's so true. I'm 41. I'm divorced. I don't drink anymore. I'm a single mom. There's a part of me that every once in a while I was like, damn, maybe I really already kind of had my great loves, and that's sort of it. From here on out, I'll just be a sphinxter. And I am still in no way, shape, or form suitable to be a partner anytime soon. But that does give me hope that you can still find love when you're older, and not only love when you're older, but maybe the greatest love is going to be during that time in your life. So that's great.
Yeah. Do you want to say spinster?
I sure do. Is that the way you say it? Spinster?
It sounded like you said sphincter.
Robin, do you know that I always thought that those were the same words? And I just was appalled that people would call old women their asshole muscle. I literally thought that they were the same word. That's not the same word.
Just say spinster. I'll cut it in.
Wait, spinster? I'm spinning around? Okay. This whole time, I just thought we were calling old women asshole muscles. That's what a sphinxter is, right? It's the part that makes sure that you don't shit all the time.
Well, I think you combined spinster and sphincter.
Yeah.
It's sphincter and spinster.
So just, I'm wrong.
Sphincter is a whole other, like... Oh.
Okay.
I was like, I can't let that one go.
Okay, I'm going to just repackage that sentence. Okay. Spinster. I'm worried I'll be a spinster my whole life.
Yeah.
Do with that what you will.
It's time for our final segment of the day, Class or Crass. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Let's go. Posting a group photo where only you look good.
Oof.
What are your thoughts?
I've done it. Okay.
We all have.
If you get a great picture and everyone else, it doesn't even have to be everyone else, but you got one person mid-blink or somebody else kind of like blurry, but you look great. Oh man. Talk about the angel and the devil on your shoulders as you go to post it. I think the classy thing to do is crop. Just do a little crop.
Crop, or here's my thought. Post a carousel. Do multiple photos. Make the first one the one where you're like, you look good.
Yeah.
But then make sure that the friend that maybe doesn't look the best has their moment to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, let me ask you this sub-question. Do you feel you should get approval from the group before you pick the one to post?
I wouldn't say that I ask for approval. I'm the kind of person that makes sure a lot of photos get taken so that the odds of one where we all look great is much higher. And then oftentimes I'll send that picture to the group just so everybody has it. And when I see reactions, that's when I'm like, okay, no one's going to care if I post this.
Right.
But in general, like, I'm not super active on social media anyway.
Yeah.
But that's how I used to kind of handle it. But I mean, we all naturally want to gravitate towards the picture where we look the best.
For sure.
It's our social media. It's a little vain. Who cares?
Yeah. And to that, I would say, you're more than welcome to post the one that you look the best and I don't look good on your page,
My mom does it all the time.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. My friend Morgan, to this day, has one of the funniest pictures ever. So Morgan's mom was posting it on her either Facebook or Instagram, celebrating Morgan's birthday. And the picture she posted, Morgan is mostly cropped out of the picture. It's a great picture of her mom. And it's like half of Morgan's face. And it is so funny. It was just unintentional, boomer posting habits of like, oh, here's a picture of Morgan. Not at all Morgan. It was like mostly cropped out. But
that's hilarious.
That to me was hilarious. So yeah, I would say, I don't know if I would deem it classy. I don't think it meets the classy standard, but
I do think cropping is probably the best way to go. Like, if you're able to crop that person out, just do it.
Yeah, crop it. If you crop it, it's classy.
And it also kind of depends, like, does the friend think they look bad or does the friend actually look bad? If they look bad, I'm going to call that a little crass, a little selfish.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that is all the news that's fit to print. Robin, did you have anything else?
That's all I have today, except classy is a state of mind.
So mind your classiness, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.